Commodore, my 64, my Commodore 64.
Bounty Bob has some work on his hands. A Canadian Mountie on the trail of a wanted criminal, he's chased his quarry into a dangerous uranium mine, and now he'll have to search every inch of it to bring him to justice. Along the way, Bob will dodge radioactive critters, leap between precarious platforms, and even get blasted out of a cannon. While it sounds treacherous, this is just a regular day for Bounty Bob, the hero of one of the earliest hit games and true classic, Miner 2049'er. So grab your hard hat, your pickaxe, and maybe some lead-lined underwear, because we are about to descend into the mines to extract some nuggets of Commodore 64 history. The story of Miner 2049'er starts in 1980 with a guy named Bill Hogue from Van Nuys, California. An early fan of arcade games and home computers, he founded Big 5 Software with his business partner Jeff Connew. They started by making TRS-80 games that took heavy inspiration from arcade hits of the day. Amongst others, Galaxy Invasion was their take on Galaxian, Supernova was basically asteroids, and Robot Attack looked suspiciously like Berserk. Despite those homages, Big 5 quickly earned a reputation for fast, technically impressive games, which they sold through magazines and mail-order catalogs. But by 1982, the TRS-80 scene was fading fast, so they turned their attention to the more powerful and far more colorful Atari 400 and 800. Their first project on those systems would be something new. Bill loved the platforming of Donkey Kong and the maze traversal and ghost-eating aspects of Pac-Man, and he wanted to combine those ideas into a single game. He wrote the core in assembly language, and once the mechanics were solid, the team wrapped a mining theme and storyline around it. Miner 2049'er was born. The Atari version launched in December 1982 on a specially designed 16 kilobyte cartridge that Bill's team built themselves. This was truly the DIY era of game development. With the Atari release complete, Big 5 teamed up with the International Computer Group to launch an aggressive advertising campaign and license Miner 2049'er to as many platforms as possible, including the Commodore 64. In total, Miner 2049'er reached 22 different platforms, a staggering number for the time. And their strategy worked. The game was soon selling like hotcakes. It became the #1 game for ColecoVision in 1983, and Video Magazine called it the most widely played home electronic game of all time. Striking while the iron was hot, Bill and Big 5 began work on a follow-up called Scraper Caper, where Bounty Bob traded his hard hat for a firefighter's helmet. But they weren't happy with the progress and scrapped it before release. Hogue went so far as to destroy all the materials and code for it, something he later regretted. Meanwhile, another developer was working on Miner 2049'er 2, though Big 5 wasn't heavily involved and it only appeared on the Apple II. The true sequel, Bounty Bob Strikes Back, arrived in 1985, but by then, Big 5's run was over. Sales were modest and Bill Hogue soon left the industry, leaving behind one of the most successful early titles in gaming history. The original Atari version of Miner 2049'er is considered canon, but of all the ports, the 64 version is generally seen as the most faithful. It features the same levels, largely the same graphics and sound, and the same gameplay. In the game, you control Bounty Bob as he tries to clear 10 distinct levels. Running over the floor changes its color to solid, and once the entire level is converted, you've completed it. But it's not easy. A steadily decreasing clock keeps the pressure on, forcing you to traverse the levels efficiently. Fail to finish in time and it's instant death. Another quick way to die is by running into mutants. Fortunately, helpful items are scattered throughout each level. Grabbing one not only nets points, but also transforms the mutants from ugly, misshapen lumps into happy, smiling creatures. Happy, smiling creatures that could be killed. It's a little bizarre, but hey, this was the 80s. However, most deaths come from misjudged jumps or drops. Early levels are forgiving, but the later stages become deviously difficult. Platform placement becomes a puzzle where you need to figure out the best routes for success. Some can be jumped to, others require dropping down, and a few are only accessible via moving platforms. And watch out for slides. Occasionally useful for fast travel, they're frustratingly easy to accidentally run into, forcing you to retrace your steps and waste precious seconds. Personally, I hate the slides. Level completion demands practice, patience, and precision. One small mistake and you're toast. No in-game saves, no extra lives. Dying means starting the entire level over. It's tough. Once you've mastered the basics on the first couple of levels, the game throws in some design twists. Elevators provide access to different areas. Hoists carry you over deadly terrain. And the most memorable, a cannon that launches you based on how much TNT you load it with. The variability of level design and objectives was innovative, giving Miner 2049'er tremendous replayability. After completing all 10 levels, Bounty Bob loops back to the start. You're playing for personal pride and a high score. Unfortunately, there's no high scoreboard, but that's okay. That's what notepads and Polaroid cameras were for. In a word, the graphics and sound of Miner 2049'er are iconic. While they might not be the absolute best on the Commodore 64, they're solid and they perfectly capture the game's arcade feel. Of all the visuals, Bounty Bob is my favorite. His wide grin and portly build make him a unique, memorable character, and he moves crisply and smoothly across the levels. Not far behind are the mutants. These poor little guys have faces that only a half-blind, drunken mother could love. Yet they're so delightfully pitiful that I'd be lying if I said eliminating them didn't bring me a tiny pang of guilt. Aside from the characters, there are other graphical touches that make the game shine. Sometimes literally. The giant glowing vat of waste makes for a really fun level, and that same radioactive glow also provides a reminder that not all items are safe for consumption. And the cannon, hoist lift, and glowing presses each add novelty and variety to the levels. Similarly, the sounds are functional rather than gorgeous, but they are satisfying. Bounty Bob's footsteps crunch as he runs, mutants disappear with a glorious boom, and the descending notes when he falls perfectly convey impending doom, a sound I've learned to hate. The biggest omission? Music. The Atari version features a fun rendition of the mining classic Clementine, but the 64 release keeps things bare bones in that department. Which is kind of a shame, because the SID chip would have done it way better. The Commodore 64 Appreciation Society absolutely adores Miner 2049'er, and we're definitely not alone. The game received fantastic reviews on virtually every platform that it was released on, and as if that wasn't quite enough praise, the March 1984 issue of Electronic Fun with Computers and Games named it the 19th best game of all time. And its positive reception continues to this day. It's currently rated a solid 7.36 on Lemon 64, and it's remembered fondly in game retrospectives. Many games of the time were influenced by Miner 2049'er's success, and titles like Manic Miner, Jet Set Willy, and Crystal Caves borrowed heavily from its design. But more than that, the game gave an overall boost to platformers and cemented their place as one of the most popular genres for home gaming. Almost 25 years after it was originally released, Magmic recreated a version of it for iOS in 2007. It received good reviews. IGN rated it 8 out of 10, and it introduced the platformer to a whole new generation of gamers. Its success was short-lived though, and it was discontinued a few years later. Ultimately, Miner 2049'er's legacy lies in the amazing memories and experiences that millions of us had with it. It was one of the earliest must-have games and was a staple in almost every game collection back then. Thanks for the terrific game, Bill. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like or subscribing. And if you have any memories of your time with Bounty Bob, I'd love to hear them in the comments. Hope to see you again.